Hi guys. Very quick one today. I had a couple of people ask about my copper bracelet. Normally I would just go and buy one from the chemist. They only cost a couple of quid. But I thought I'd have a go at making one. So what I'm going to use, all I've got lying about is this copper pipe. It's a bit of 3/8. Ideally it would have been better off quarter, but I haven't got any kicking about, so this is going to end up a bit wider. So I've cut off a couple of bits at about, I think about 6.5 inches long. Got two in case I make a balls up of one. The first thing I'm going to do is stick them in the fire and soften them. Makes working them much easier. And the way to do it with copper, just heat it up to sort of a very dull red and then quench it straight into the water. So we're going to get that done, and then it makes it as soft as butter. Let's see if I can zoom the camera in a bit. You have a little look at it warming up. Won't take long. Although the fire's hardly ticking over, it's still pretty warm. You can see already that that's actually almost too hot. That really is a bit too hot. It wants to be, so you can almost not see it in the daylight, the redness. What I used to do was just hold it under the fire, under the actual forge, and you can just see it glowing dull red. Those are actually a bit too hot, so I'm going to quickly zoom out and get them quenched. You see that's really a bit too hot, but it'll work. Same with that one, that's way too hot, ideally. But I haven't got time to muck about, so I can turn the fire off. There you go. A lot of the scale sort of comes off and it's made it like really soft. So now we've got to flatten it. So I'm going to try and do, as you can see, well, I'm not going to bend them too much because I want to try and keep it as straight as possible, but it is really soft once you've done that. I suppose they call that annealing, I don't know. Alright, so I'm going to flatten it with a bit of wood because I don't want to get any hammer marks on it. So I'm going to find myself a nice bit of smooth wood, and I've got a bit of 2x1.5, I think it is. And it's really nice and smooth, planed on one side, unlike the edge. So I want to make sure there's nothing in it, no bits of stone or metal that have got embedded. So this is the one I used for my branding iron demo. Just stick it over the top and give it a whack, or a couple of whacks. There you go, flat. As you can see, it's still got quite a lump at the edges because the wood really isn't heavy enough to flatten it properly, and as you can see it's not very straight. It's got a few kinks in it, so before we go any further I'm just going to gently tap them out. As you can see I'm hardly touching that, and it's so soft it's just conforming. See, that's much better already before we go any further. So I want to get this edge detail out. I'm going to try again with the wood, but it's really not quite enough. So I think I'll get a nice flat bit of steel. If you've got a bit of bright line about or something that's really sort of smooth, that would be ideal. Now I've got this great big lump that's nice and smooth. It's a bit of overkill because it's about 4 inch by 1/2 inch thick. It's an offcut off a job I was doing, but it'll do the trick. Just exactly the same, over the top, give it a whack, a couple of whacks, and hey presto, you can see that's nice and thin now. That's taken off those, if it'll focus I'll show you. You can see it's just got rid of those lumps at the edge. So that's going to be, as you can see, much thicker than or much wider than the original one. So I'm going to round these edges off so we've got nice smooth ends to it. I'm just going to do that with the flat disc on the grinder. And that's put in a position where you can see. Just running it gently. Don't touch too close to the end because being copper, that get hot really, really quick. It conducts the heat up so quickly. I can even feel it coming up now. And that's the focus. That's about the desired effect. Just so it's nice and smooth, no sharp edges. Do the same to the other one. It'll take a second or two, and that was getting hot already. Really does conduct heat well, this copper. Right, now just to make sure there's no sharp edges, just going to get a bit of wet and dry. Take all off every single little bit of sharp edge, because trust me, if you've never worn one of these before, any sharpness or slight bump or lump will really irritate your skin. It might take you a few weeks to get used to wearing one. I got blisters and cuts and scabs and all sorts when I first started wearing one. Eventually your skin will harden up, but to start with, just get all any little lump or bump off so it doesn't irritate your skin. Right, we're nearly there. You could just bend that and wear it, but I just want to put a little bit of decoration across the front. If you've got these stamps for doing leather, you could use those, or just a punch and chisels or whatever. So I'm just going to have a look to see what I've got. Try and put a little bit of decoration on there, make it a little bit different. Right, well, I've had a look around. I haven't really got a fat lot, so I'm just going to put my initials on it and a few little pin sort of marks with a centre punch. I don't want a particularly heavy hammer for this, so I'm just going to use this little pin hammer, because this copper is really soft, and if you hit it too hard you're just going to go right through it or sort of damage it too much. So I'm just going to guess, not quite heavy enough, but at least it didn't go through it the first go. If that will focus, yeah, just about see it. Let's do the H. Make sure you get them the right way up. And again, just a second go on there. Probably done with a little bit of a heavier hammer. No, maybe not, that's plenty. And now I'm just going to put a few spots with the automatic centre punch. Oh, that's not enough because I turned it right down, knowing that this was soft. So just stiffen it up a bit. That's better. Puts a few marks in it. I'm just going to put, I don't know, half a dozen or so. I haven't got a lot of time as usual, but you could spend hours, you know, you could run spots all the way down the edge, all the way around the outside. You could put zigzags if you've got a little lightweight chisel. As usual, it's limited to your imagination, but I'm just going to put a few bits on just to sort of demonstrate what you can do. There you can see. So what I'm going to do now, before I bend it, is just polish it up a little bit. It will polish up sort of naturally by wearing it. Your clothes will do it, and your skin and all sorts of things, you know, things you brush up against. But it's always nice to have it starting off shiny. So I'm just going to put a little bit of polish on this wheel and give it a quick go. And again, this is going to get hot pretty quick. I might have to put some gloves on. As you know, most of you, I hate wearing gloves for doing anything. I think it's so dangerous. And yet that's starting to get hot, so bugger it. I'm going to have to go and get some gloves on just to finish this bit off. So, as if by magic, back with the gloves. I'll get this finished. A bit more soap. Give it another go. Again, I'm just doing this roughly and quickly because it gets a bit boring, and also I haven't got masses of time. And even with these gloves on, it's getting a bit warm, but I'm just going to get the best of it done, or the worst of it done, just so it looks a bit nicer. And you can see it's coming up quite nice already. And with time, you'll get it sort of muck and stuff in the detail, and it'll actually look quite nice. At the moment there's just sort of like polish in the detail. It just shows it up a bit better. You can spend your time and get it all out, but I think it just adds a little bit, makes it look a little bit nicer. Again, it's all up to individual tastes. I think we're probably going to call it a day there. Get these damn things off. Right, to the last bit, we just take the rest of the polish off. You can see it comes off, even though you've been on a mop, it leaves a residue which you just want to get off, otherwise it'll end up on your clothes and your skin. And that's just about it. As you can see, even though I used that lighter hammer, it's still gone a little bit heavy on that H, but never mind, all adds character. So let's just bend it, get it to the shape of your wrist. You can see how easy it bends. It's just like butter now. It will work harden after a while, and you might end up having to just heat it up and really soften it if it starts to dig into you. Get that one off. Put that one back on. And again, they take a while to sort of conform to your wrist. You'll find you'll probably play with it for weeks and weeks just trying to get it comfortable, but eventually, that's a bit tight at the moment, but I'll fiddle about with that. It's quite a nice width, quite like that. And if you can see underneath, hang on, let's move the camera, the ends aren't quite down at the moment, and sometimes you might actually want to leave them up because any little edge, as I was saying earlier, can irritate the skin. It sort of pinches underneath and you end up with like a bit of a blister, but you can just knock it over eventually and you'll get used to it. I think that's quite nice little gift if you want to make one for a friend or yourself or girlfriend, whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching, we'll catch you on the next one.